You don't notice it as a big decision. It happens fast. Someone asks for your time, and before your body even checks your energy, you say yes. Your schedule is already full. Your mind is already tired, but the word leaves your mouth smoothly. Sure, a friend starts venting, and you lean in. You nod. You absorb every detail. You offer advice. You become steady, reliable, supportive. Meanwhile, your own thoughts sit quietly in the background, waiting for a turn that never comes. At work, someone pushes a task toward you. You feel the slight internal resistance, that flicker of, I don't want to, but you override it almost instantly. If I don't help, they'll think I'm difficult. If I don't respond, they'll question me. If I say no, something will shift. So you extend yourself again. It's not dramatic. No one is forcing you. But over time, something accumulates. A quiet depletion, a subtle resentment you don't like admitting. You begin to feel stretched thin, like you are constantly reaching outward, but rarely returning inward. And what confuses you most is this: why does saying no feel heavier than saying yes? Why does protecting your energy feel like a social risk? You see the pattern in small moments, in casual conversations where you listen longer than you want to, in late-night messages you respond to immediately, in plans you agree to, even though your body feels tired before they even begin. Externally, you look generous. Internally, you feel slightly erased. You become the reliable one, the strong one, the understanding one. People come to you because you're safe. But somewhere beneath that safety, you feel unseen, because the version of you they experience is the edited version, the accommodating version, the one who smooths tension before it forms. And slowly, your identity starts bending around that role. You tell yourself you're just kind. You tell yourself you don't mind. But if you were fully honest, you would admit something quieter. You are afraid of what happens if you stop. Afraid of disappointment. Afraid of subtle distance. Afraid of being less needed. And that fear doesn't shout. It whispers. It tells you that harmony is fragile. It tells you that connection must be maintained. It tells you that boundaries might cost you belonging. So you keep the bridge extended, always available, always steady. But the bridge starts to feel unsteady beneath you. You notice how relationships tilt one way toward your giving. A friend calls only when they need to unload, and you answer, even as your own day unravels. At work, colleagues default to you for extra tasks because you always handle it so well, and you do. But the cost shows in quiet evenings, when exhaustion settles in without explanation. In family dynamics, you absorb the unspoken expectations, mediating conflicts, smoothing edges, while your own voice fades into the background. Socially, in groups, you hold back opinions that might disrupt the flow, choosing silence over friction. Internally, it builds a low hum of isolation, even when surrounded. You question why reciprocity feels rare, why your needs seem negotiable, while theirs are urgent. The pattern repeats in micro ways. Agreeing to a coffee run when you're swamped, staying late to help a teammate, while your own deadlines loom. Each yes reinforcing the role, each no deferred for later, and later never arrives. The resentment simmers, not explosive, but steady. You catch yourself thinking, why am I always the one adjusting? Yet the adjustment continues, because the alternative, disruption, feels riskier. Here is the deeper truth. This is not weakness. This is protection. Your nervous system learned somewhere along the way that relational stability depends on your flexibility. When someone makes a request, your system does not hear, "Can you help?" It hears, "Is this connection secure?" That slight tension in your chest when you consider saying no, that is not guilt. It is threat detection. The amygdala, your brain's alarm system, scans for social danger. And social danger does not mean physical harm. It means rejection, disapproval, withdrawal, loss of closeness. Your brain does not distinguish sharply between physical and relational threat. Historically, exclusion meant vulnerability, so your system adapted. Better to overextend than risk distance. Then the default mode network joins in. It replays past moments where boundaries led to awkwardness. It imagines subtle changes in tone. It runs simulations. If I say no, will they pull back? If I disappoint them, will I lose my place? These thoughts loop quietly. You don't even notice you're rehearsing. You just feel urgency. And when you say yes, relief follows. The tension drops, harmony restored. Your brain records that. Avoidance worked. Relief reinforces the pattern each time you override yourself, and nothing explodes. The pathway strengthens. Over time, saying no feels more dangerous than it actually is. Imagine it like constantly extending a bridge toward others. Each extension keeps connection intact, but you never reinforce your own ground. Eventually, you are standing on something unstable. A simple mental model. Boundary equals exposure. Exposure equals relational risk. So, avoidance through overgiving becomes safety. But this model is outdated. It assumes connection depends on constant self-sacrifice. It ignores something important. True connection requires visibility, not just availability. To gently shift this, you do not become rigid, you become aware. First, start with a pause. When someone asks for something, do not answer immediately. Let your body speak before your fear does. This activates the prefrontal cortex. It gives space between trigger and reaction. Instead of automatic yes, you consider capacity. For example, when a coworker asks for after hours help, you might say, "I can look at this tomorrow." The world does not collapse. The relationship remains. Your brain updates its threat predictions, learning that delay does not equal danger. Second, label the internal pull. When you feel that rush to accommodate, name it. This is my protection. Labeling reduces the emotional intensity driven by the amygdala and interrupts rumination. It creates psychological distance. In real life, perhaps a friend shares a problem and you feel compelled to fix it. By labeling, "I'm feeling the need to help to avoid discomfort," you might respond with empathy, but without taking on the full load, like suggesting they reflect first, preserving your energy while still connecting. Third, practice micro boundaries, not dramatic refusals. Small adjustments. ending a call when tired, declining one low-priority request, sharing your honest preference in a group. These exposures retrain threat prediction. Each time nothing catastrophic happens, your nervous system recalibrates. For instance, during a family gathering, you choose to step away for a quiet moment rather than staying engaged indefinitely. Afterward, relationships remain intact, reinforcing that limits foster respect rather than rupture. Fourth, redefine what safety means. Safety is not constant harmony. Safety is mutual respect. When you reward yourself internally for choosing alignment over approval, dopamine shifts from external validation to self-agency. This changes reinforcement. You begin associating boundaries with strength rather than loss. Picture declining an invitation and using that time for yourself. Initially uneasy, but the resulting recharge builds positive feedback, making future boundaries feel more natural and rewarding. Fifth, track the quiet wins. Note times when a boundary led to relief or deeper respect. This strengthens the new pathway, reducing DMN loops over imagined fallout. In a social setting, when you express a differing opinion gently and the group engages thoughtfully instead of withdrawing, it updates your brain's model. Visibility can enhance connection, not threaten. Think of this as the stability loop. Old loop, trigger, threat detection, overgiving. Relief, reinforcement. New loop, trigger, pause, label, micro-boundary, internal reward, choice, respect, internal stability. Over time, a new equilibrium forms. The people who value you stay. The ones who relied only on your overextension adjust, and your giving becomes cleaner, chosen, not compelled. In the quiet moments after you hold a boundary, you may still feel slight discomfort. That is normal. Your nervous system is updating an old equation, but beneath the discomfort is something steadier. You are no longer disappearing to maintain connection. You are participating in it fully. And that shift, subtle but powerful, is where your real generosity begins. Not from depletion, but from a place that has room to give without losing itself.